Who cares if I'm a minute early? I'm going to start anyway. Good evening or good afternoon, or possibly good morning, depending on where you're from. I am, it's the evening here where I'm at, and we're going to get this, no, it's not a podcast, but I've been launching podcasts recently. Let me start over. Hi, everyone. It's Wednesday night. It's time for the live stream. And tonight we're going to talk about where do you begin when you're doing a kitchen design? What's the starting point? Is there a single starting point? Is there multiple starting points? Have you ever done a kitchen renovation? Have you ever been in the process of thinking through what to do when you're designing a new kitchen for maybe a new construction or for possibly your home that you're living in now, or maybe a house flip or whatever the case may be? And where do you start? What do you do? Is there a correct starting point? I've been talking to people recently this week about this idea, and there's a lot of thought on what's the best area to begin when we're trying to discover, what the perfect layout for the kitchen is, or what the kitchen should be laid out like for my family, and on and on and on. And so I want to talk about that tonight and some of the possible starting areas. And we're going to list a bunch of those, though they're in no particular order in terms of there is a particular starting point that's better than others. It sort of depends on the person and what they deem to be important. But we're going to look at them regardless anyway, and we will have a discussion around that. And of course, if you are in the chat or if you're here live, make sure that you do say hi and put a question in the chat if you feel like you have one or you need something answered. I'd love to try to answer any questions that you may have as you come on. And of course, let me know where you're watching from and say hi to everyone else in the chat. And if you are on a device that you can't use your thumbs or your fingers to type, then just wave at the screen and we'll know. We'll feel you. All right, so let's jump in. First of all, and I'm going to just go right into this tonight as I look over here at my screen. Possible starting areas, and then we'll go through a few of these, and I'll jump in the chat and we'll say hi, and we'll talk about that as well. And I do have a poll going on. My kitchen is too small, too big, or just right. A little bit of the Three Bears and Goldilocks vibe with this poll. So let me know: is your kitchen too small, too big, or is it just absolutely perfect and you wouldn't have it any other way? And I'd love to know what the audience what they think about their personal, their own kitchens that they have now. So. All right, here's the first one. This is one of the starting points that you can definitely start with, though normally not where I would start particularly, but it is definitely, it's up there actually, probably where you would start. And it's this one: appliances. The kitchen is just a place for really two things. Well, really one thing. It's a place, okay, well, two things. It's a place for your appliances to go. I mean, that's what a kitchen is. All the buzz and all the hoopla about the design style and the color and the door style and the pullouts and the function and all that stuff. It really boils down to the fact that these are all just items that are surrounding basically three or four main things: a fridge, a stove, a sink, and probably a dishwasher, and a variety of other little things that might be important to you in terms of appliances. Appliances are a very important starting point when you're looking at a kitchen design, and there's a lot of options out there, a lot of variety. And what is the best for your kitchen or for your family? And that, of course, is up to you. So when you're looking at all these appliances and you're looking at your future kitchen and what you're going to do in that future kitchen, it's important to think about, well, what are the appliances that I want to have? Do I want a 36-inch wide counter depth fridge? Do I just need a 30-inch wide fridge? That's not counter depth. Do I need a big 60-inch side-by-side freezer fridge combination? Do I want something that's extra large, extra small, whatever the case may be? Well, this is really important because that has to fit into the room and in the rest of the space. As with the range, do I want standard, regular 30-inch range like 90% of the population have? Or more and more people are now looking at 36-inch ranges and gas ranges and induction and all that stuff. But the size of these appliances really matter. Or do you want a 48-inch range? So, of course, that's going to depend on the room that it's going in. And if you have, a too small kitchen, then you might not be able to fit in a 60-inch wide freezer fridge combination. And you may not be able to fit in a 38 or 48-inch, gas range. So these are important questions. And the dishwasher, well, those are pretty standard at 24 inches, at least here in North America. But you might want two of those. That's a really popular trend these days. And so that's a good starting point. And of course, your sink, which normally sinks are basically all the same size in terms of what the most consumers are presented with when they go to a big box store. They have their standard sink that will fit into a 36-inch wide sink base. And after that, then you're going into more of these workstation sinks, which are becoming more and more popular. But if you want to put one in and you want something that's extra wide, then you have to take that into consideration. So your appliances are very important, and some people have very specific preferences when it comes to the types of appliances that they want. And so for that, it is a great starting point, so that when you do pick out all your appliances, then when you go to have your kitchen designed, your kitchen designer is able to take those particular measurements and fit them into the plan that they're designing for you, instead of designing you a plan and you being like, well, I'm not exactly sure of the appliance sizes and we can probably change them later, which is true. You can always change something when it's just a drawing on a screen, but it would be much better if you knew those things in advance so that you can design that and have that designed beforehand, taking into consideration all those things you want. Then, of course, it comes into the fact that there's also microwaves and other types of appliances. Let's talk about wall ovens. That's a good one. Wall ovens versus a range. So having a separate cooktop and having a wall oven. If you know in advance that that's something you definitely want, you have to really process that through in the design phase and think about that, because normally those two things are separated. So instead of having a range top and an oven underneath in that base cabinet, well, that's doable and possible, and sometimes is done. The whole point of having a wall oven is that it's in a wall. And so that means it's normally in a pantry cabinet, and then your range is somewhere else. So now you need to take up, another amount of space in that kitchen. And that's just more things to consider in terms of your layout. And if you are 55% of the people who voted so far that say my kitchen is too small, well, then this is going to be a dilemma for you, because these things have to go somewhere. And you just can't have everything jammed in together, because you need to have all the other things that make a kitchen functional. So the same goes with your microwave or other small appliances that are, used all the time, but not built in. You have your Vitamix or your toaster, your SodaStream or your rice cooker, your whatever the case may be. Okay, there's a bazillion different types of small appliances out there, and everyone has normally one that's really important. Coffee maker's one, for instance. I just have the regular old percolator that sits on the countertop, but a lot of you have really nice cappuccino, espresso, fancy coffee makers that have to go somewhere, and some of those can be built in as well, or at least they need counter space. So all these things need to be thought about beforehand, and appliances is a great place to start. So if you already know the appliances you definitely want, that is a good starting point. At least that gets you somewhere where you can say, okay, I want to have this new kitchen, and I know the appliances that I want to have and incorporate into that kitchen. And that is a good step in the right direction, instead of just wondering, I don't know where to begin. Start with that. And you can start with any of these that we're going to list in a minute. Jump into the chat for a minute, because I know there's a bunch of you on here tonight, and I don't want to ignore anybody. It's so easy to do when these start coming in. So, of course, I'm streaming tonight to Facebook and obviously on YouTube. So thanks for joining in. And I see all kinds of people jumping in so far. And I just want to say hi to my buddy Rob, because he's just my best friend forever. And got to say hi to him. Jackie's here. Jackie, you are still my moderator. You still got your job. So thanks so much for being in that position. And we all appreciate you for doing that. And Jackie's good to just go through and chat with you as well in there. And of course, you just chat with each other. Laura's here and tuning in in Indianapolis. Awesome. Thanks so much. And I also see Ashlyn's here. Hi, Ashlyn. If I'm not looking at the camera, it's because I'm looking over at my screen. And Mavis said she's early. Hey, Mavis. Cool. From Charlotte, North Carolina. So awesome. Terjo Scott is here. Birmingham, Alabama. Got the very first chat of the night. So awesome. Congratulations. You win the trophy for first chat of the night. I think, Terry Joe, you had it last week. All right. Very good. Karen's here from Massachusetts. Awesome. Oh, Barbara's here. Hey, Barbara. Green Kitchens rock. Go, girl. Helen from Australia. Awesome. Sending love to all. Thanks for joining, Helen. Again, Helen's always here on a Thursday morning where she's at, and it's so cool. Awesome. Raymond, hi. Yeah, from Austin. So cool. Wow, just amazing all the different places in the world that people join in from. It's really, really, really cool. Hey, here's a question. For the range, why would you choose a stainless sleek range versus an insert one that is hiding within a cabinet? I hope that's making sense. Not exactly sure what it's called. Maybe like a range top? Is that what you mean? Versus just a regular stove? I'm not sure if that's what you mean, but if it is, I think that some people want the separation between two appliances because the wall oven is higher, and so it makes it a little easier to use. Very, very good. Megan's here. Hey, 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 cool. Bluebell from New Jersey. Is that right? NJ? I think so. I don't know all my state initials. I am from Canada, so all right. Hey, hey, mom's here from Facebook. Cool. The old Facebook going. And Natalie, range hood. Oh, okay, yeah. So, range hood. Let me go back to your question, Natalie, and then I'll jump into number 2 place where you can start. And the question is for the range hood, why would you choose a stainless sleek range hood versus an inset one that's hiding? It basically just comes down to maybe the look that you're wanting to get. That would probably be the only real reason, or it could be the price. There's a variety of reasons. There's as long as it's sucking air out of there, I think that's really important. Um, I don't think there's any other real reason other than you like the look of a stainless steel, chimney style range hood versus something that's either built into a cabinet, mounted to a cabinet, or something that's more of a, a showpiece range hood. I don't know if there's a real, solid like this versus that. So yeah. Um, but I don't think there's anything better in terms of ventilation. They all will, draw a certain amount of air and CFM and all that stuff. So that's all important to look at. And then just a matter of what one you like. I hope that answers your question. And if not, my apologies. Let's go, Raymond. Design regarding range top. I don't think I've ever had used more than 2 burners, thus cooktop larger than 36. Yeah. And that's why when you're starting with appliances, Raymond would know, I don't need a 36-inch range because I only use 2 burners. So basically, you know, you can actually get a 2-burner cooktop and then you just have a ton of counter space that you didn't necessarily have to waste. So again, it all comes down to these starting points. And when you're starting with appliances, knowing that in advance, I would say at least maybe get a 30-inch range. You might use more than 2 burners at some point in your life. It'd be good to have it. But if you know, hey, I'm never going to, that's a good place to start. So, all right, let's go to the next one. La, 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 la. Here we go. So you can start with appliances. If you're confused with where to start, you can also start with the actual cabinet brand. And this can come down to a whole bunch of different factors. So some of those factors being whether or not those cabinets are manufactured to be, custom. In other words, you can get whatever you want. Whether or not they are semi-custom. So the sizes are pre-made, but there's some customizability within the whole system. Or you get ready to assemble cabinets such as IKEA, which would be on the top end of the ready to assemble lineup, RTA. And so if you know in advance that you are looking for IKEA, well, then that is going to direct your design decisions towards that countertop brand versus if you're getting something from Maynard's or you're getting something from Home Depot or Home Hardware or Lowe's or Rona or the variety of other places that are out there that are selling cabinets, or places online like the Cabinet Joint and RTA Store Online and all these different places. That is going to absolutely dictate the type of kitchen that you are able to design, basically, because you have to deal with those particular sizes. Not only will it dictate that, but they will only have particular styles that you would have to choose from. And you're stuck with that in a sense. I don't mean to say the word stuck, because if you're going with IKEA or any RTA brand or any brand, you're going to pick what you like. And I don't mean to say you're stuck with those things. Versus custom, where you can basically get anything that you want. And of course, there's a price for that as well. So knowing the cabinet brand that you're interested in or that you want to work with is very important. Now, oftentimes this is the one thing that clients definitely know when they're coming to me. They're saying, you need your help to design a kitchen, and I'm going with IKEA, which is great. I love to hear not just that it's IKEA, but I love to hear that they know this is what I'm going with, because then we can say, okay, perfect. Now we can design your kitchen using those sizes, those specifications, and everything that IKEA in this instance has to offer to design your kitchen. So that is a great starting point. Some people don't know, and you say, well, how would you not know what cabinet brand you want to go with? There's a lot of people who don't know. There are a lot of options out there. And when it's down to, the budget being close, maybe for a whole bunch of brands, what's the best brand to go with? And that's, where you have to do a little bit of research and find out what's the quality like versus what are the options and availability and accessories and all that kind of stuff. Do they come installed? Do they come pre-assembled? Do I have to assemble them? There's a lot of things to consider, but knowing which one is really important. So that's a great starting point. If you have that and you know the appliances, you basically you're going to roll down that hill really easily, because the rest will come fairly quickly once you know those things. Hopefully, not always, but usually that's the plan. All right, let's go to the next one. So I hope that makes sense. Oh, and then of course, let's stay with cabinet brand, because it also will depend on a couple other things. One being whether or not those cabinets are frameless, whether or not they're framed, and just those two things alone mean a little bit in terms of how that kitchen, not necessarily the overall layout, but particularly the install and the types of cabinets and the types of fillers and things that you need to make that kitchen come alive. A framed cabinet means there's a stile and rail, and the doors usually overlaid on top of that, though you can get inset doors and whatnot, and half overlay and all the rest, full overlay. And those frames butt together, okay? And so that has to be, those are a little bit different than, say, a frameless cabinet, which is what you'd find at IKEA, which is just a box and a door. It's full overlay. The door overlays the box, so you don't see any frame of cabinet. And so the way that would get designed might be slightly different. And so if you know that, hey, I want framed cabinets and I want it from this brand and I want them pre-assembled, that's really good information. A great starting point, because then it just narrows down the choices that you have, which is actually a really good thing. So the less choices you have, the better in terms of kitchen design. You don't want to just have sky's the limit and we'll just try everything. That's not going to work. That's only going to get you frustrated. Find the appliances you want, find the cabinet brand that you want to work with, and go for it. All right, let's jump over to the chat. I'm not jumping over anywhere else but the chat. So if you are on, say hi. And Jackie is saying hit the like button. I can't agree more. I'm going to hit the like button on my own display here. Why not add to that? Cool. All right. Yeah, it's easy to forget, Phil. Come on, hit that like button, but don't hit it twice. You can only hit it once, unless you hit it 3 times, then that's fine too. All right. Let's see. My kitchen is too small, 50%. Just right, 50%. Nobody thinks their kitchen is too big. That's interesting. Nobody yet, anyway. 28 votes. Cool. So that's good to know. I would say a lot of people, I mean, this kind of confirms what I was kind of thinking, is that, yeah, a lot of people think their kitchen is too small. And that can be true. And sometimes it's just the way that maybe the kitchen is laid off, or it's not as functional as it could be. Because you can make a small space very functional and very usable. Just takes a little bit of thought and maybe sometimes some trial and error to get it figured out. Sarah, what are you saying? I already own 5 sizes of cast iron pans and kettles. I don't own any cast iron anything, actually. Those are too heavy, so I don't go with those. Maybe they're better for cooking, but I don't cook very often. 6-burner cooktop. Alan, hey, how you doing? Have only used 2 burners at once. Pot filler is great for filling the coffee pot reservoir. Oh, very interesting. Well, I mean, the night's not over. You could use 3 burners. You never know what could happen, Alan. It's definitely possible. Let's go to the next one. A good place to start. This is a really great place to start. Layout constraints. You're not sure your appliances. You're not really sure the cabinet brand. You might have an idea. You have some kind of, at least you know that there's going to be cabinets in there. What I mean by layout constraints is the kitchen's a room and it has a certain amount of walls and windows and openings and doors and, obstructions, and you have to work around that. And as much as you'd like to be able to fit 10 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound bag, that's not always the case. It's not possible. There's has to be some compromise somewhere because of the space that you're using. And so knowing the layout constraints or looking at the layout constraints first is a great way to help you make the decisions on other things. What I mean by that is if you look at your space and you want somebody in this poll that is saying, well, my kitchen's too small, and you want, this, and this, but this won't fit, then we have to address that. And that's what I mean by layout constraints. What are the issues in this space that's going to not allow me to do some of the things that I want to do, and what is possible? Because really, we want to get down to what's possible in the space. And we don't want to be super negative, but we have to be realistic with what we can do and what we can't do. And sometimes I run into this in the kitchen design scenario with a client, is that they'll send me a list of all kinds of things that they want. And then I look at the measurements and it's like, how do I break this to you nicely that these things aren't all going to fit without being, Debbie Downer and being like, well, you're going to have to not have the kitchen of your dreams because you're kind of overshooting here what's possible. I always like to try to do my best to push the envelope and make as much stuff possible as possible, but you got to be realistic too. So knowing the layout constraints of the space that you're working with is really important. Now, oftentimes you know this when you have your own kitchen and you're doing a renovation because you're looking at the space, you understand maybe it's an L shape and it's 10 by 12 and you have an island, and that's what you got to work with. And you got an 8-foot ceiling. So you're probably not going to have, cabinets with, cabinets double height cabinets, with glass doors on top, and you're probably not going to have, an 8-foot island, and you're probably, there's a lot of constraints there with that. That doesn't mean you can't have an amazing, functional, beautiful kitchen. There's just particular things that are probably not going to work in that space, and knowing that is really important. So looking at it that way is really important. It also is important when you are designing a new home or getting ready to build a new home or in that process. So I have clients that do both, build new homes and renovate. And the build new home clients, they have a particular problem in that they have a floor plan that they have to put a kitchen into, and oftentimes they're constrained by that floor plan. In other words, there's a kitchen that I really want. I want it to look a particular way. I have this vision, but this is the floor plan. And instead of it being reversed and designing the kitchen, I've said this lots of times on the channel, on the live stream and videos, instead of designing the rest of the home around that kitchen, because the kitchen is, I'm telling you, it's the showpiece of the home. That's the most expensive room in your home, except for your garage where you park your Porsche, I guess. That's the most expensive room. That's the showpiece. That's the place. That's where the food is. Food's important. Keeps us all alive and it's delicious. So we have to, that's why it's so important. So if you're designing your house around that space, then the sky's the limit. You don't have layout constraints. You can say, this is the kitchen I want. Hey, builder, build around this. Let's build our house around this. Instead, it's normally always normally this way. Here's what I have in the house plan. Let's fit a kitchen into it. So that right away comes with constraints, because there's got to be this door here that leads into this room, and there's got to be some kind of window here, and this has to go here, and there's a hallway here, and there's another door there. And so you got to deal with that. And that might change some of the decisions you make for your kitchen. So it might not be exactly what you want. It doesn't mean that it can't be great or functional or beautiful or on and on and on. It just means that there are some constraints, and knowing those in advance is super important. Let's jump over to the comments, over to the chat, and say hey, because I like jumping in the chat. It's my favorite part. I just find that if I'm in the chat all night, it might be a little boring for you. But I'm going to jump in for a few minutes and say hi. Megan is saying, my mom had a small galley kitchen I should sing all of these. Maybe not, but she laid it out so well. It never felt too small or cramped. The magic of good design makes all the difference 100%. Uh, does your mom need a job? Because I could use a spare kitchen designer. That sounds great, Megan. That is perfect. Doesn't a galley kitchen that is smaller doesn't need to feel small because it's laid out properly, and that's that is really important. Hey Jackie, I would love to knock down the wall separating the kitchen and living room. My kitchen would appear so much larger. Yes, it would. Let's do that. Let's knock down that wall. Laura's saying she has 4 doorways. Layout constraints. 4 doorways. That's what do and you got to have them. They go somewhere, so they're not just doorways for the sake of doorways. And yeah, definitely something to consider. Layout constraints definitely a major consideration with plumbing and electrical when renovating. Very good as well, Helen. Yeah, it's a very good point because some people just can't move their plumbing arbitrarily. Oh, I think I'll put my sink over here. Well, that's going to be difficult because your plumbing's over here and the floor cement, and so that's going to be a problem. Or electrical. Those things can anything can technically be done. Not everything should be done, or it's maybe not the easiest thing to do. So, very good point. Karen saying our budget went way, way over because we had to shift doorway openings. Yep, easy to do, easy to go over budget, and again, the constraints of doorways. So this is a really great, and not to say that this is absolutely avoidable. It's just a starting point. So I'm looking at my kitchen, and this is a starting point. Here's the constraints that this space has. Now we have to work around that. So a really great starting point. Alan's chiming in with a great idea from IKEA that are so the hidden drawer. You have to open 2 drawers to get the silverware. Yeah. Instead of just having 3 drawers, you have 2 drawers and a hidden drawer. Oh, that's good to know, Alan. I don't know. It looks cool. I've never had the hidden drawer, but I understand why wouldn't you just have a drawer? Unless it's just for the look of having 2 drawers, maybe. But other than that, pretty good. Other than that, pretty good product. Well, Alan just did a big kitchen renovation with IKEA, in case you're wondering why he's chiming in with this. Most of you know, and Alan's been on a lot, talking about his kitchen and the delays that have happened with IKEA. But yeah, it's a good product, and he's happy with it, except for that. It's interesting. One of the issues I've had before with, it's not really a hidden drawer, but it's like the 2-tier cutlery system, is that stuff underneath can jam the top one. That can be an issue too sometimes, but the wall is structural. Well, Jackie, we can get a beam ordered for you, and that will not be an issue. And beams aren't really that expensive, I'm going to tell you. So let's knock that wall out of there. It's done. It's done. Amy and I are coming down. We're going to visit you and knock out a wall. Is the supply chain for appliances still bad? We ordered appliances for the whole house 4 months ago, and we're still waiting. I would say probably yes. Now, I have an inside guy in the appliance industry, but I haven't talked to him lately. But he did say that, yeah, it is still kind of bad. This was maybe a few months ago. So, yeah. Not good when you're waiting, but it is the name of the game these days. Everything can be done, but it's going to cost dollar bills. Yeah, it is. Anything can be done. All right, let's jump back over to the content. Imagine, what a blast. We'll come down, we'll do birthday parties. Oh, my Bosch dishwasher is taking 4 months lead time. Ooh. You just got to buy one that's a replaceable one until the good ones come in. Oh, more appliance stock. I ordered all appliances in June and them all delivered last week. GE Cafe stainless suite. Nice. Only issue is our dishwasher arrived dented and had to be returned, reordered. And still lead time is 2 weeks. Ugh. Don't you hate that? Oh, you finally get it. It's like, oh, it's damaged. Hope they did something for you. Our dishwasher came and it didn't work. So that was a nuisance. But we got it fixed. Not a big deal. All right, where's another place you can start with? So we're talking about layout constraints, which this next one leads into this, and it's sort of similar, but the positive side, and has to do with design possibilities. So while there's layout constraints, which is kind of a negative connotation, there's design possibilities, which is positive connotation. In other words, let's look at the possibilities of this space. And that's what I like to do. That's my favorite place, is to start and look at what's possible. What can we do? Let's see what we can make happen. And when you look at it that way, it's sort of one of the more exciting ways to approach a kitchen design or a renovation, because you're looking at what are the things that we can do in this space? How can we make this functional or beautiful or flow for a family? Or how can we put in the things that we want? What are the possibilities? And when we're looking at either your current kitchen, you might look at it and be like, oh, well, I could put the fridge over here. That's possible. I could do this. And there's all kinds of things. Now, of course, we're talking budget, and we're talking about, in Jackie's case, well, you'd have to put a beam in and all these kind of things if you knocked a wall out. But what's possible? And that's really a great place to look at. Now, again, everything comes down to certain factors that are unavoidable, such as budget or what's possible in terms of the cabinet brand, or on and on and on. But looking at it this way is really fun, because you get to kind of envision. This is what I do when I lay out a kitchen design for a client, and I give them, 3D renderings of what's possible in the space. And sometimes what happens, I'll give 3 design options, 3 different layout options. And lots of times people will be like, I like these are all really interesting and cool in their own way. Like, they're like parts of each of those, and looking at the possibilities, even though the whole thing might not be perfect, there's like, I like this part of it, and I like this part of the other one. Let's see if we can mix and match those things together and get exactly what's going to work. And so that's a great way to approach kitchen design, is looking at all the different possibilities of the space. And it's one of the funner ways as well. All right. Where are we at? Where are we at here? Oh, Carol, I took Mark's advice. Changed my layout from cupboards to drawers on my island. Rock on, because that is a great idea. The more drawers, the better. The better, I would say. Yeah, awesome, good. Dun, 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 where are we at? Oh no. Oh, you were disappointed. I just seen your comment on your. Yeah, it is disappointing, but in another year you'd be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. My Mavis, the wife, wanted it all in this same project. Oh, you're talking to Mavis here. Sorry, Phil. I didn't know what was going on. I don't see some of the comments, and I look at them and I'm like, what's he talking about with this now? And I jumped the gun. We found out yesterday our contractor pushed back the start date. Sarah, no. So all the carpenter and cabinet company are back in play. Wow. So carpenter cabinet company are back in play. Well, there you go. Delays. That's never a good place to start. All right. Let's keep going. The Deco Cottage, thanks for being here. Drawers are the way to go. Pullets behind doors is my second favorite. Mine too, but always I would probably prefer drawers as well. Even though in my kitchen I did that with some pullets behind doors, but in hindsight, it's like, why didn't I just put drawers here? Wouldn't just make it just that much easier. So, Karen, we're taking out our radiator and shrinking the window. I am gaining a beautiful run of countertops. Toe kick for heat. Oh, cool. Toe kick for heat. That's awesome. That's a good move. Just utilizing that space underneath your cabinet if you're putting in toe kick register. Cool. I like it. Though I like bigger windows. I would rather put a big window in my kitchen. But anyway, that's the one thing that I wish I had done with my kitchen, is done that. You never know. Maybe someday. That's okay. I say random stuff too. The problem is, for me, it's recorded online, and it's all good. All right, let's go. Oh, hey, there's a good comment. You get more space with drawers instead of pullets. Do you? I don't know. Maybe. It depends. That's a good statement. I don't know. Is that scientifically proven? Hmm. T26, what? Oh, T minus 26. I'm like, what are you talking about, Barbara? To start my kitchen reno. Yikes, much prep is done, but miles to go yet. Have a new range, replace the window already. Awesome. Can't wait to see how it turns out. It's going to be really cool. Neighbor looks straight into the neighbors. Okay, shrink that thing or get rid of it. No one wants to see the neighbors. I hear you. All right, and Helen, delays, global shortages, and all professional trades in such high demand. Doesn't matter where you live in the world. Helen's in Australia. I'm in Canada. A lot of you are in the United States and other parts of the world in Europe or wherever. This is just a common thing. There's delays, and yeah, tradespeople are in high demand everywhere, and that is an issue all over the place, which is interesting to know. Okay, let's go back and let's go to the next one. And let's look at the poll. So far, so good. 36 people voted. Not bad. Too small, 37 people voted. I just had a vote. Too small, 59%. Just right, 41%. Nobody said that too big was their kitchen problem. Interesting. That's very interesting. Where else do you start? Design possibilities. Well, you can start right here. And this is really can be two different things, but I put them into one. Function and feel, which I mean is function versus the style, the form, and that kind of thing. So when you're looking at a place to start, you have an empty canvas or you're going to do a renovation. One of the best places to start, and oftentimes is, where I would want to start as well, is how do I make this more functional? That's kind of the essence of my channel. That's what I talk about a lot. I try to talk about a lot. I try to make that type of information accessible. Is how do I make this kitchen as functional as I can for my needs? Now, the rule is there is no particular rule in terms of what's functional over something else. Like it does come down to the particular person who's using that kitchen. And so by that, that has to be planned out by that person to know this is how I use my kitchen, these are my needs, and this is how tall I am. That's the thing that matters. This is I have this issue with my hip, my back, my knee, my left arm, whatever, and those things are issues that will come into play with my kitchen. Or I have other accessibility issues such as you might be seeing impaired, or you might be in a wheelchair. So all of these things are very important when it comes to the function. Now, obviously, that's what you want in a new kitchen is you want something that's functional. But oftentimes people don't say that. They just say, "Listen, I need more counter space." Okay, well that's a function issue. Or they'll say, "I just want more storage." That's a function issue. I just need to be able to do this with my kitchen. And that's a function issue. So all these things of functionality, oftentimes we don't say that. No one's ever come into the office when I was in a brick and mortar store selling kitchens. No one ever came to me and said, "Listen, I want a functional kitchen." They're just like, "Listen, I just need more counter space. That's what I need in this new kitchen. I want an island and I want a wall oven and this is what I need." So those are all function issues. I mean, maybe somebody came in and said, "I want functionality." And I talk about functionality, but these are the particular things that we mean. And how much walking space is there between one countertop and the other? And yes, there's guidelines, but there might be three of you using that kitchen and you need to get around each other. And there's an oven door that's going to be open, maybe at the same time that a dishwasher door is open with a drawer open as well. Is it all functional? Does it all fit? Does it all flow? And that's a great starting point when you're kind of planning out that kitchen. Maybe the space of your kitchen, the layout, dictates where things are going to go. What I mean by that is you have an L shape and you have a fridge and you have a sink and you have a range. And that's where those things are going to go back with your new kitchen. So the layout's pretty much figured out for you. The possibilities are figured out for you. This is basically what my kitchen's going to be, an L shape and maybe an island. And so in that L shape and with that, how are these things, how am I going to make this the most functional possible for me? And how much counter space do I need? How many drawers do I need? Do I need a pantry? How do I make this to be fit for how I'm going to use that kitchen? So that's always a great starting point because you already know here's my kitchen. So now I can dial in the function. And that's kind of one of the funner parts of designing a kitchen, is because you can plan out all the specific things that you want, and people enjoy that. I find, especially when they're dealing with me and looking at 3D renderings, and they can see, okay, that's 3 drawer. What would 2 drawers look like? How would I use that? Yes, that would be definitely better than the 3 drawers. Even if it does have the pull-out thing that Alan doesn't like, maybe that's the best solution for you, though he says it's not that great. However, knowing these things in advance, or starting there when you're planning that kitchen, is really important. And of course, the feel of that kitchen, the form, the aesthetic of that kitchen, the interior design aspect of the colors, and how you want that kitchen to look. While in my opinion, it's not as important as the function, it might be more important to you because you're the homeowner. And so knowing that's really important. And so if that's the best place to start for you because you want your kitchen to look a particular way, maybe you've seen something on the kitchens of Instagram, or you've seen something, online, or on HGTV or somewhere like that, and that really struck you and you absolutely love the look of it, then that's really important. And a lot of people, or Pinterest, people will send me pictures and be like, this is kind of what I'm going for. It's because they've seen that. They're like, yeah, that resonates with me. That's the look I want. Now that's a great starting point. Because really, if that's the look you want, well, we could get that look, and we could also make it functional, which is a bonus. So it is a great starting point, and it's somewhere that if that's where you're at, to say, well, this is kind of the idea I want, then go with that. Start there and work out from that. Pick your appliances after that. Find the cabinets that are going to match that particular form or feeling that you're trying to get with your kitchen, or design style. If that's what you're really into, then that's the way you should be going and doing that. So, and of course, of all of these, there's no right and wrong. There's no, you should start here and not here. It just depends on what you want, and it depends on where you want to start. And the problem is, some people say, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. So pick one of these and start there. Like 2 more, and we'll go from there. But you got to start somewhere, and sometimes you're just all over the place. So you pick one, and you work your way out, and maybe cover all these bases. Go with appliances, and then start with cabinet brand, and then figure out what the constraints are, or in any particular order. Maybe you should probably know what the constraints are first. Maybe that would be the best place to start. But otherwise, really just pick one and kind of go with it. Pick another, and all these pieces start fitting together to get your kitchen to be exactly what you're looking for. Hope that makes sense. Hope it makes sense tonight. Okay, let's go here with the comments back in here. If I miss a comment or I skip over you, my apologies. If I pronounce a name wrong, of course, that's apologies as well. All right, let's keep going here. Okay. What's going on here? Oh, Alan, Mark, as long as you don't say anything that YouTube considers conservative, you'll be okay. I don't want to get my account taken down because it's my livelihood. So you're right. You gotta just keep it. We're just talking about kitchens here. Nothing else. We're not talking about anything else. Just kitchens. That's all I want to talk about. So puts on aviator sunglasses. Yeah. That's right. Next Thursday, the big 4 or 5. All right. Pullouts have to be narrower to clean door hinges. They have to be shorter to allow for the door in the front. Drawers waste less space than pullouts. I gotta disagree with you guys on this one. I mean, I know what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, that pullouts have to be narrower to clear door hinges. Not necessarily. Not necessarily, but yes. So yes and no. You're right, Alan and Carol. However, the standard for a pullout normally is the box the drawer box is an inch smaller in total than the opening, meaning that you have a half an inch of clearance for the hinge, which normally isn't a problem. I'm gonna have to check that out. And the drawer boxes don't need to be shorter because they can go right to the drawer front. I think it's negligible. I'm gonna investigate this myself because I have both in my kitchen. I'm gonna investigate this. I'm gonna check the sizes. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't know if it's that much of a difference. Saying all that, I definitely would rather just have drawers. So, you know, take that as you may. Okay. Hey. Yes, I've been doing choose my cabinets function for each. Cool. Yes. It's always fun choosing out stuff. Our kitchen functions well for us. We put so many cabinets in the kitchen, not so much for space, but to hide candies from our kids. Oh, what? We figure they spend all the time looking for it if they deserve it. The trick is just to not hide it in the kitchen at all, but put it in your shoe or something like that. Right? All right, cool. Let's keep going. I'm going to keep going. Thank you, Helen. Such a great live stream today, Mark. Your advice is invaluable. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. That is the goal for sure. Let's see. All right. I dream about turning our U-shaped kitchen into an L shape with an island. I love that idea, which is how I found you. Awesome. I even taped off the island on the floor and pretended and I was cooking supper. That's cool. A lot of people actually do that. They just tape off things and kind of walk around to see how it feels. It gives you a sense of what it would be like. I love the idea of an L shape with an island. I know sometimes you could be giving up a little bit, but you're gaining some as well. I like that over the peninsula idea, but as long as it works in the space. Yes, your birthday's coming up too. Big brother, imagine. Oh, I definitely dream about pullouts. Yeah, that's definitely a good dream. They make great hiding places. That they do. I'm sure they do. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, 2 more to go. Where do you start? Where do I start with this kitchen? Well, this is a great place to start. The budget. That's a great place to start. And we've talked about this lots of times, but knowing this is important. Obviously, you kind of don't have to say that. It's pretty obvious that you need to know what your budget is. But a lot of people have this idea that, I don't know, changes to a kitchen design does not cost anything, or adding things to a kitchen design isn't going to cost that much. When in fact, all these little changes really, really do add up over time. It doesn't take long. And so knowing your budget, and then maybe this is the best place to start, but knowing your budget, knowing what you want to spend. And that doesn't, maybe for you it's hard and fast, and maybe it's, a little bit loosey goosey ish, if you know what I mean. You can, you have some wiggle room, and that's always good. There should be a little bit of wiggle room in your kitchen plans, in your renovation, plans, because there's going to be stuff that happens, and that's just good to know. And there's no way around it. There's going to be problems, and problems cost money. So have a little contingency, and hopefully it doesn't go too crazy. But anyway, with that being said, know your budget, know the amount of money you want to spend, and this will definitely dictate you and direct you into particular directions that you're going to need to make decisions on, such as your appliances and your cabinet brand and your countertop choices, and the types of maybe color that you want, if you want something custom versus something that's more of a stock item. All of these things, are budget questions. Even the functionality. If you want all drawers as opposed to a cabinet with 2 doors and a shelf, well, that the drawers cost more money. There's more material, there's more hardware, and so that costs more money, and that's important. So, you have to find that balance, and that's the tricky part sometimes, because this is where you want, all the bells and whistles, but you can only afford the whistles, and you can't have the bells, and that's unfortunate because it's really great to have both. So finding the best mix and match of those things is but how knowing what your budget will get you, and then you go from there. And oftentimes that's the most realistic place to start, because it's like, here it is, go from there. This is it. I can't go any more than this. Good place to be. I think so. It's not a bad thing to know what the limitation is in terms of what your budget is. It just keeps you on track. You don't want to be taking out a second mortgage if you don't have to, on your home to pay for a kitchen that could be just as functional if you didn't make those decisions that you didn't need to make by getting the high end this and the high end that. So of course, do what you want, but that is a great place to start. I think, because there's no point in just overburdening yourself for the sake of a drawer bank or whatever. Okay, in my opinion, at least. All right, sound advice coming from MTKD tonight. Oh my goodness, Phil, what are you talking about now about the government? Unless you're the government, then in that case, you don't need a budget. Hope that doesn't get me kicked out. Sorry, not sorry, Jackie. Jackie, I'll let you field that one. I look outside the yard, but can't wait to change the window. Cost is a factor. Cost is always going to be a factor with some of these big changes. Jackie mentioned it, of course, with taking down a wall and putting in a beam. That costs a lot of money. And so, hey, you can't do what you can't do, and that's just the way it goes. Yep, sucks to go over budget. You don't want to go over budget. I mean, it's all relative. Price is relative. I was always taught and always learned. I learned early on that when you're talking to somebody, in a sales situation, you don't know what's in their bank account. Don't tell them that the tiles are too expensive. Stop telling them that. I used to hate when I hear the guys saying that over in flooring. All those tiles are pretty expensive. They should be buying them then. Get them to buy those expensive ones. Price is relative. So budget is relative. It takes you in certain directions, but it's a great starting point nonetheless. And yeah, you can go from there. All right, we got government talk happening on here. And I'm not going to get into any of that stuff because I don't know enough about it. Okay, the last place you can start, or one of the places you can start first, and this is probably where a lot of people do start, is this kind of easy one: research. You got to see, this is where you find out all the information that we're talking about, except for budget. You should already know what your budget is. You shouldn't have to research that too much. But everything else you can figure out with a little bit of research. You can go on YouTube and type in Mark Tobin kitchen design, and you can find all kinds of information about how to design your kitchen. Or you can go to a variety of other channels that are out there, like Homestead Studios, and you can go to Kitchen Insider, and you can go to all kinds of interior designers. I got Nick Lewis on the last couple of weeks ago, and you can go to channels like that and other interior designers and find information, or other places that specifically talk about countertops or paint. No, I didn't get the paint people yet. I didn't DM them yet. I'm going to. Or you can get people who talk about appliances. Like there's experts out there who talk about their particular thing, and we do research. We all know this, we do it, but it is a great place to start when we're looking at designing a kitchen. And a lot of people discover my channel because they're just doing a little bit of research, because they're like, okay, I want to find out how to do this, or I'm interested in this. And that's how this happens. And it's the start of a great relationship, is a little bit of research, but it's really, really important. So, find out all the information that you can. And, you can say we can have information overload, and that's true. There's a lot of information out there, and who do you listen to versus who do you not listen to? But you get a sense of people as you listen to them, and you get a sense of the ideas and the information. And you can normally sniff out if something's kind of like, honky or whatever. Is honky a word? I don't know. I'm not sure if I don't know if that's the right word or not, but you can tell if something's like not up to par, most times. Or if you just connect with somebody. And of course, it doesn't have to be YouTube. You can go on Pinterest and you can go on to Instagram and all different places where you just find information about the thing you're looking for about your kitchen design or the possibilities and what are the cabinet styles, what are the countertop choices, and what are some of the design options that I have, and what are the new functional things that are out there, and accessories and pullouts and all this kind of stuff. Research is a great place to start when you're designing a kitchen. And the more you know, the better. So that when you are in a situation with a designer, or you're working with a contractor, and you say like, "Hey, I'd like to do this," and like, "No, that's not possible." You're like, "Well, I'm pretty sure it is because I've seen it on the internet." And they're like, "Oh, the internet." Because I guarantee you, if you thought about it, somebody else probably thought about it, and they put it out there somewhere. So that's the beauty of it, is that you can see these ideas, and they can come to life by a little bit of research, because a lot of times you just don't know what's possible until you go looking for it and you come across stuff, and you're like, "Hey, I like that idea, and let's work that into my kitchen design." So that's a great thing to do. And oftentimes people who are set in their ways don't like that, especially contractors and builders and kitchen designers and maybe interior designers, I don't know. But we like to do things a particular way, and this is the right way to do it. This is how you're supposed to do it. But maybe we could do this. And oh, there you go. Just got kicked off. Maybe we can do it this way, and then we'll try something new. We'll start a new fad. We'll start a new trend. You never know. Or at least, the very least, we'll have something that I like, because I seen it, I wanted it, and I want that in my kitchen. So great place to start. A little bit of research. So just remember, we got research. We definitely need the budget, function and feel, design possibilities, layout constraints, cabinet brand, and appliances are all great places to start when you're thinking of, what am I going to do with this kitchen? How am I going to lay this out? How's it going to look? Go to any one of those places. What I'll probably do in this is add some chapters so we can just talk. You go directly to those places. If you're watching a replay, that might make it easier, though at this point you've already figured that out, because if you're watching the replay at this point, this is all history. This has all happened. So anyway, I'm rambling now like Phil. All right, let's go back to the chat, and we will talk about this. What's the best country, Jackie? Just don't say Canada. Well, I don't know the best country. I only know Canada because I live here. That's a subjective question. I don't know if you can answer that, what the best one is. I haven't lived in all of them. We don't know. So there you go. Heading to Toronto, yeah. T dot. That's Toronto. T dot. That's what you call it. Some people think it's the East. Yeah, I'm a rambling man. Oh my goodness. So let's go back to the comments here for a minute and say, hey, Mark. Oh, cool. I think we're meeting tomorrow. I think we are Thursday, right? I didn't respond to your email, but I did see it, but I will later on tonight. Found this channel while researching my own kitchen. Awesome. It's so cool. And that's what I'm here for. So I'm glad you found me, and hopefully there's some good information. Research is just dreaming with reality. Yeah. Knowing what's possible. You can't dream of it till you know it. We call it TO. Yeah. We call it TO or T dot. The big city, GTA. Carol, for us here in the Maritimes, we're just over there in the East Coast. No one cares. No one cares. Here we go. Tina, good to see you. I was also trying to search lights flanking range hoods and not getting much there. Maybe wrong keywords. Lights flanking range hoods. Do you mean like sconces on either side of a range hood? Is that what you mean? If so, you can search those keywords, sconces on either side of a range hood. but I know what you mean. I think that's what you're talking about. Hope everyone has having a great night. True story. Yes. Appreciate the content. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Sconces, Tina. Type in sconces on either side of a range hood, or maybe sconces flanking a range hood. That might work as well. Teo means Terrell Owens. Cool. All right. So what's up? This week I'm breaking down my video, the live stream with Nick Lewis for my upcoming video, and I've got that broken down. I cut out the parts. I cut out everything else except for where we're talking about OTRs, open shelving, and corner cabinets. So I'm breaking that down, and so that's coming up. And then in a few weeks, I'm talking about the science and the art of kitchen design. So that's something I've been thinking about lately and how that all plays together. So we're going to be doing a video on that and lots of great stuff in the works. Doing a little bit of research right now and doing some planning, hopefully to have some type of kitchen design course or program in the months down the road coming up. So something we can all discuss later on. And if you have been part of the marketing research for that, thank you so much. I've chatted to a few people already and some more people coming up just to get some ideas on what that would look like and ask questions from homeowners who have kitchens and are looking to design those kitchens. What are some of the things or roadblocks that are in their way, and stuff like that. So all good stuff. I want to thank you for being on tonight. We've been an hour, so we'll call it a night. I want to say thank you to Jackie for being the moderator tonight. We do appreciate it, Jackie. And thank you to everyone who's been on. And I see one question, so hold on before I stop. I have 10-foot ceilings. What type of hood vent do you recommend that doesn't go all the way to the top? Well, okay, so that sort of depends if the cabinets go to the top or not. And if the cabinets don't go to the top, because 10 feet's pretty high for cabinets, it's just, boxes up there that you never get into. I would say that because most vent hoods, even the chimney style, can be vented out anywhere. It doesn't have to go it doesn't have to go through the ceiling. So any vent hood can vent out the back, like out the wall, or up through the ceiling. And in that case, with a 10-foot ceiling, you might be better off with like not necessarily a statement hood, but more of a cabinetry style hood over the range, so that it blends in with all the cabinets. And I seen that. I'll talk about that in a sec before we go. So that would be my best advice. I lost your comment, but thanks for asking that question. I think that would be the best advice, because then you can mount either a hidden range hood underneath that, or you can mount something underneath that's visible, but it can vent out the wall, because that's really important. So hold on one second. Let me just grab this stuff here. Oh my goodness. Yeah, let's talk about Eva Soapco for a second. Thanks. Because why not? This is Better Body Butter Bar. We got all kinds of stuff happening in the works, working on a website. This is Eva Soapco. So this is the company that my wife has been starting, and it's named after our daughter, Eva. It means life-giving. So it's all natural hair and body products, where Amy is a master instructor in cosmetology and works in the industry, trying to find products that are friendlier to the body and friendlier to the environment. So these are all naturally sourced, homemade products right now. And I designed the logo. So how do you like them apples? These will be coming online shortly. They're available now on Instagram. You can check out Eva _ soap _ co _ and you can actually order there. So we've got lots of stuff coming in. We got cream shampoo and cream conditioner and all kinds of body scrub stuff, and we got deodorant and lip balm and all kinds of cool things They make these cupcakes that are bath bombs, all kinds of cool things. So stay in touch with that. I know it's off topic, it's not kitchen related, but why not? It's our little thing that we're doing. So I'm gonna plug them every chance I get, especially in the live stream, because we're a little more forgiving here than just on a regular video. All right, love you all. Thanks so much for being on. Have a great evening, and we'll definitely, hopefully, see you. I'll be here next Wednesday, Thursday for Helen. I'll be here, and we'll chat about some more kitchen design. Hopefully, I can get in touch with James from the Paint People and get him on, have an interview. That'd be cool. Or if there's anyone else that you think would be cool to interview, drop me something in a comment or email me, whatever you want, if you think I should reach out to somebody and try to have them on, because I do like chatting with people. It's really fun. Go back to the poll for a minute. We have 50 votes. Too small, 64%. Just right, 34%. And somebody finally said that their kitchen was too big. Well, they're in the top 2% of the too big kitchens, but that is a thing. You get too much room, you don't need it. Maybe there's just a couple of you don't need all that room, and that can be definitely a problem. So we'll end the poll there with 50 votes. That's great. Have a great week, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.